Hi, welcome or welcome back. I'm Jacqui, and this is Mind Magic Hypnosis. My last two videos touch on a very sensitive and important topic of intimate partner violence, also known as domestic violence. So I want to continue that conversation. In this video, I want to talk about a high-profile case, a case that I think is very important because it sheds light on something with regards to male victims of domestic violence. So before I can get started with that, I need to do a little backstory. Sit down and grab a drink, get comfortable, grab a snack, and let's talk about intimate partner violence, and let's really get into it. So this isn't going to be a short one. I apologize for that. If you have a fried attention span, I'm going to recommend and encourage you to come back to this video or pause and resume, but there's going to be a lot of tidbits in here, and I know it's going to be long, but the work that I do now is with the intention of helping other people who might be in similar situations to what I was in. And when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to male victims, there's not enough talked about with that, and there's not enough compassion on that, and there's not enough understanding, because we do hear a lot about femicide. I am a feminist, but let me tell you what feminist means to me. To me, feminism means one thing. It has one definition across the board, and that is gender equality. That does not mean that I think men and women are like physically and emotionally and mentally equal, because we're not. Physically, there are things men can do that women cannot do. Physically, there are things women can do that men cannot do. This is not hateful. This is biology. This is physiology. This is not about gender wars. And unfortunately, I believe that the present day society and social media have fueled the gender wars so badly. If you're a man, you've been brainwashed by the manosphere, and you think women are the enemy and women are awful and evil and corrupt and out to steal your money, and we're just all like money hungry whores who are going to hurt you. And women, and our algorithms, we're being fed all men are scary, all men are awful, all men are abusive, the most dangerous man you'll ever meet is your husband and father, which yes, that is true statistically. However, that does not mean all men are monsters. So when I talk about feminism, I mean gender equality. When I mean gender equality, I mean respect. I mean, we are all equal as people. Men don't exist without women. And women, we can't have those babies and create more men without the seed of a man. So I believe the big problem of the world, the big problem that I see across the board on every spectrum, politically, spiritually, financially, mentally, emotionally, balance. We are all out of balance, physically, mentally, emotionally. We are all imbalanced, and social media fuels that. None of us are balanced human beings living in this world today. I happen to love ancient Egypt, and a lot of people do. A lot of people love ancient Egypt, and a lot of people are drawn to ancient Egyptian history. Why? Have you ever asked yourself why? What is it about ancient Egypt that we are so drawn to or inspired by, intrigued by? You probably don't know what it is. You probably can't put your finger on it. But they had something that we are lacking, and that is balance. They had balance. They were a balanced society. So when it came to gender equality, just look. You don't have the queens smaller than the pharaohs. The kings and queens were equal. They were side by side. The queens were not lesser than, they were equal to, side by side. Look at the statues in Egypt. They tell you the story. They were a balanced nation. And that's why I believe they thrived for thousands of years. And it was only when the Romans and the Greeks came in that they threw everything off balance and the society crumbled. So balance. We are all off balance. Think about your car. When your car is not balanced, it doesn't drive right. Sure, you can still drive it, but it's not going to drive as smooth as it would if it was balanced. So really, for me, it all comes back down to balance. I do believe that is a big part of the problem that I see globally, not just nationally. It's not just a national problem in the United States of America. It is a problem that I see with people. And unfortunately, I think social media furthers that division between us. It furthers the division between men and women. And instead of coming together and realizing, hey, we need each other, and hey, you have these strengths and I have these strengths, and together we come together and we balance out and we make like a really great team. And that was something I used to try to get through to my husband in my marriage when I still had hope that we could make things work. Balance, when it comes to balance. And I can tell you that as a teenager, I probably listened to just as many girl bands as I did boy bands. And when I say boy bands, I don't mean like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. I mean people with penises, as opposed to girl bands or co-ed bands. Co-ed bands being like Veruca Salt and Hole, girl bands being L7, Babes in Toyland, even Bikini Kill, which was like the Riot Girl band, was a co-ed band with a boy in the band called Billy. So balance. For me, it's all about balance. And that's what I strive for in my life. It doesn't mean that I always succeed, but that's what I'm striving for, is to be a more balanced human being. And I do believe most human beings, most Americans specifically right now, because of what we're dealing with politically, I do not believe that most Americans are extremists. But I do believe that social media has brainwashed people into leaning towards extremist views. I've deleted social media. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram. If you see me on there, no, you don't. It's not me. I'm not on there. Please report it. It's a fake. It's not me. I'm not there. I am only on YouTube, and the only channels I have that I put out content on are related to my businesses. I don't put out, personal stuff, sharing information about my life and my kids. Anyway, bringing it back to the topic of the day. Today's topic is Amber Turd and Johnny Depp.
On my side of the bed, was human fecal matter.
I want to give you a real honest domestic violence survivor's reaction and response to Amber Heard Turd. And I want to get into why. But before we do that, first I want to explain why I never talked about this previously. I never talked about it on any of my other platforms. I never talked about it on any previous incarnations of this or any other YouTube channel. I didn't even talk about it on Facebook when the case was going on, and everybody knows I'm a domestic violence survivor. The only time I did mention anything was when female filmmakers that I was acquainted with on social media would talk about it while it was going on, and I would occasionally chime in on the comments. And this actually got me unfriended and blocked by a couple of women that I really liked. Let's rewind a little bit. So let's go back to 2011. I told you about how I told my ex-husband I wanted a divorce. I ended up lying in a pool of my own blood. After that, I enrolled in film school. While I was in film school, one of my professors, Mr. Cellini, brought in a woman who ran the Florida media market.
The Florida Media Market is an organization whose goal is to use its international resources to be the best provider of educational information in support of independent filmmakers and bring a better entertainment for a better world.
So here was this woman, single mom. She had twins, I had twins. She was a filmmaker, I was an aspiring filmmaker. So we hit it off right away. And I immediately went up to her and said, "You're looking for interns? I would like to intern with you." And she accepted that. So we immediately started an internship. I ended up working with her after my internship ended. I think it was like a 6-month internship. And after that, she hired me on, and I worked with her until I left Florida and moved to California. She's since passed away from cancer. She had cancer, and I Learned that she passed away when I was making a short film, so I in turn dedicated that film to her. So while I'm working at the Florida Media Market, I end up meeting an older musician from the South Florida music scene, and he ends up schooling me all about the South Florida music scene. I had no idea that there was any kind of cool music scene ever happening in my local backyard. Because when I was growing up there, we had Zeta 94.9 radio station that would do Zeta Goes Local. So there were some okay local bands and maybe an okay-ish local scene, but nothing that really got you excited. But from what I was hearing, this music scene totally got people excited. There was a lot of really great bands, and you didn't have social media in the 70s and 80s, so people went out. People went out and did things. People went out of their houses on Friday and Saturday nights, and they went to shows. So these venues were packed. These bands had built local fan bases, and when big bands like Steppenwolf came to town, my friend, this older musician, his band got to open for Steppenwolf, which is so cool because Steppenwolf was my mom's favorite band. So I get to hear all these really cool stories, not only from this man that I met while working at the Florida Media Market, but also from all of his friends that he knew from the music scene that he was still in touch with, because he was trying to write a script. He wanted to tell the story of those bands and that time. During this time, he took me all around South Florida. We were traveling through South and even up to Central Florida and meeting and interviewing all these musicians who were part of this scene. And I ended up hearing about this woman named Sheila Whitkin. Sheila Whitkin was a single mom. She was one of the people running the South Florida music scene. She was one of the managers. She was a talent manager, and she had a talent agency called The Agency, and all the bands were clamoring to be on Sheila Whitkin's radar. Sheila Whitkin had a son. Her son, Bruce, had a band called The Kids. We ended up flying out to California to meet Sheila's son, Bruce, because at this point I was fascinated with Sheila Whitkin. I was terrified of being a single mom. And then I heard all these stories about Sheila Whitkin, and she gave me the inspiration. Now, unfortunately, Sheila had passed away, so I didn't get to meet her, but I got to meet her son. I got to meet her daughter-in-law, and I got to meet her granddaughter. And her son is salt of the earth, one of the nicest human beings I've ever met in my life, let alone Los Angeles. He and his wife are amazing, generous people who, when I first came out here and I knew nobody, they helped me out. She is a photographer. She did headshots for me, and the headshots were amazing and beautiful. She also runs an animal rescue. So when my sons were old enough, I volunteered with them at her animal rescue. And we actually adopted 2 of our dogs from them too. Their daughter is this amazing musician, and she's been in a few different bands. She's had a few different incarnations of her band since I've been out here, since I've known the Whitkins, and she's fun. Watching her live, it's fun. She's energetic and she's spunky. She's got a very 70s child vibe to her, and it's really cool if you like that kind of stuff, and I do. So the Whitkin family was just really cool. When Bruce found out that I was making a documentary addressing the suicide crisis, he reached out to me and he wanted to score the film, knowing that I didn't have any budget or any money to put into it. He cared about the subject matter and thought the subject matter was important enough that he wanted to work on this project and donate his talents. Do you know what a big deal that was to me? As a newbie to Hollywood, who doesn't know anyone and doesn't have any connections, this man who was Grammy nominated for his work on the Sweeney Todd film wanted to work on my film? Sheila Whitkin raised an amazing human being. Hearing about her and her story, she was what inspired me to go through with, yes, I can do this. I can pursue my dreams as a single mom and raise amazing boys in spite of being a single mom. It was Hearing all these men talk about Sheila Wiccan, they all had her on a pedestal. She was an amazing woman. And to hear all of these men praise her and talk about how amazing she was and how she changed their lives just by being a part of it, that touched me. Hearing Sheila's story from the mouths of men touched me so deeply that it made me less afraid of being a single mom and instead inspired me. Now, when I mentioned this to Bruce, he did acknowledge that while she only had one child, I had 5. It was gonna make my journey a little bit harder than hers. Yes, I acknowledge that. I acknowledge having 5 kids is a far different cry than having just one. But I looked at it as, if she can do it, so can I. She is a single mom. She raised an amazing son. She was such an amazing woman that after her passing, all of these men, all of these bands came back together and reunited to put together a benefit show to honor her life.
Sunday, January 28th, Club Cinema in Pompano Beach will host the Sheila Wiccan Memorial Reunion Concert. 100% of the proceeds from the sale of tickets and a silent auction will go to the Sheila Wiccan Foundation and the Dan Marino Foundation. The Sheila Wiccan Reunion Concert will feature bands from the South Florida local scene of the 70s and 80s, including Critical Mass, Charlie Pickett, Zed Cars, The Cichlids, Slider, Tight Squeeze, The Kids, plus several other very special guests. Sheila Wiccan was a very integral part of each of these band members' lives and success. Doors open at 4 p.m. VIP has been sold out, but general admission tickets are still available for $25. There's no football on Sunday, January 28th, so plan on joining fellow rockers for this full contact celebration through music, honoring the life and memory of Sheila Wiccan. Details on this very special fundraising event are at 93rock.com. Presented by Rome, Rock On Entertainment Management.
One of my biggest regrets is that I didn't get to meet her when she was alive, but I got to know her son. If you're a big Johnny Depp fan, you might be familiar with The Kids. I was not a big Johnny Depp fan. Let me just lay this out straight. Growing up, my biggest love was music, not film. My heartthrob as a teenager was Daniel Johns. He was the lead singer of a band called Silverchair. I couldn't give a shit about actors. I never had a crush on Johnny Depp. I never thought he was all that in a bag of chips. That was Daniel Johns to me. If you look at all the boys that I dated and even the man that I married, they all had blonde hair, usually long blonde hair. That was my thing. So Johnny Depp was never on my radar. Like, sure, I knew who he was. I mean, you have to live under a rock to not know who Johnny Depp is. And of course, I enjoyed some of his movies. But to this day, I've never watched Edward Scissorhands. I am probably the only woman my age who has never watched Edward Scissorhands. And I hate to tell you this, but if I've gone this far without seeing it, my interest in watching it at this point is nil. And I love Tim Burton, but I'm not interested. That's just to illustrate for you that I'm not and never have been a Johnny Depp fan. I didn't even know the man had kids until I was sitting in a room with people who actually knew him. And that's what I'm getting to. That's the point. That's why I never talked about the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case on any platform of mine. I didn't even make posts about it when it was happening on Facebook, when I was still on Facebook, because I didn't feel it was my place to say anything when I had his real life friends, people who were close with him throughout most of his life, right there on my Facebook feed. They were the ones posting about it. I didn't feel it was my place, even as a domestic violence survivor. But all this time has passed, and I am a domestic violence survivor, and I do have a lot to say about it, and I've kept my mouth shut. Honestly, I felt icky. I'm very neutral when it comes to Johnny Depp. However, somebody that I did become very close to was a member of this band, The Kids. I didn't want to step on the toes of anyone that I'm friends with or that I like and care about, or that just people that I respect and that have been good to me since I've been out in Los Angeles. So with everything I've already said, if you're familiar with the kids, and if you're a big Johnny Depp fan and you're familiar with who Bruce is, then you'll know Bruce not only scored my second documentary, but he also testified in the trial with Johnny and Amber. At the time Bruce was scoring my film, he was also a touring member and a founding member of the Hollywood Vampires. I'm not going to talk about whatever went down with him and Johnny because that's not my story. That's not my place, and that has nothing to do with anything that I'm talking about here. The point is, the reason I never wanted to talk about the Johnny and Amber stuff is because I do know people who actually know Johnny in real life, and I've met his ex-wife, and she's always been nothing but sweet and kind to me. Here's what I will tell you about domestic violence. Domestic violence is a pattern. A man in his 50s is not going to start being abusive if he didn't already display those signs earlier. If a man was not violent towards women in his teens, 20s, 30s, and 40s, I very strongly doubt he's going to all of a sudden become violent with a woman in his 50s. That just doesn't track.
For an ex to be out there positively supporting their ex, that's usually a pretty good sign of things. And I don't want to speak out of turn. I know we don't need to get into private stuff, but it sounds like, yeah, you still support your ex, Johnny. Is that fair to assume?
Absolutely. 100%.
Amazing. So just so people understand, you were his first wife, correct?
Very first one. We got married in 1983.
1983. Wow. So yeah, what phase of Johnny? So that with 83, this was like that was early.
That was way early. He still had a mullet, and I cut it off because we're living in Florida, and he's got this mullet, and I met him when he was 17. So I took all his bad things away from him. I shouldn't say that. And I tried to give him, do new things because he wanted to get into this band called The Kids, and they were really kind of like hip, to use a really old lady term. But so I bought him new clothes and cut his hair, and the next thing you know, he was in the band. And
wow.
It just started from there.
So what was it like when you saw this man you clearly appreciated? It sounds like, you guys were ended things amicably where you have respect for each other. I don't want to pry. It's none of my business, but it sounds like you ended things positively at least, or came to those terms. What were you feeling when you saw She Who Shall Not Be Named coming out there, putting these accusations and putting them through the ringer like she did?
I had met her before. I'd been to parties at at his house, and she seemed really nice, and she was gorgeous, and what's not to love? But, as the time went by, and I would hear things about her, and She Who Shall Not Be Named, he didn't seem too happy all the time. I didn't see him a lot, so I can't really say. The things that affected me more were the things he said in court. I probably broke down several times because I felt really bad for him. He's very private, which is why I don't do interviews. He's very private. And I think for him to come out so wholeheartedly was what he really needed to do. And I thought it was either going to be an epic train wreck or it was going to go really well. But it just broke my heart that somebody could do that to him. Look, I'm no angel. I've done my share of shitty things to people, but what she did was absolutely horrific. And if there were things that I could do to her that were legal, I would do them. I would. I'm a horrible person for the most part.
Kate Moss, another famous ex-girlfriend of his, testified on his behalf that he was not violent with her, as Amber tried to claim.
I don't hesitate. I don't wait. I just, in my head, instantly think of Kate Moss in the stairs, and I swung at him.
Ms. Moss, did there come a time when you, while you and Mr. Depp were a couple, that the two of you took a vacation together to the Golden Eye Resort in Jamaica?
Yes.
What, if anything, happened when you were in Jamaica with Mr. Depp?
We were leaving the room, and Johnny left the room before I did, and there had been a rainstorm, and as I left the room, I slid down the stairs, and I hurt my back.
How did you...
And
I apologize, Ms. Moss. Please continue.
And I screamed because I was because I didn't know what had happened to me, and I was in pain, and he came running back to help me and carried me to my room and got me medical attention.
Did Mr. Depp push you in any way down the stairs?
No.
During the course of your relationship, did he ever push you down any stairs?
No, he never pushed me, kicked me, or threw me down any stairs.
The mother of his 2 children and former partner of 14 years wrote the following statement. To whom it may concern, Johnny Depp is the father of my 2 children. He is a sensitive, loving, and loved person. And I believe with all my heart that these recent allegations being made are outrageous. In all the years I have known Johnny, he has never been physically abusive with me, and this looks nothing like the man I lived with for 14 wonderful years. And his daughter, Lily Rose, made the following social media post. My dad is the sweetest, most loving person I know. He's been nothing but a wonderful father to my little brother and I, and everyone who knows him would say the same. Let's look at Johnny Depp versus Brad Pitt for a second. Because while all of Johnny's exes and his daughter are coming to his defense, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's adopted son Pax wrote the following Father's Day post. Happy Father's Day to this world-class a-hole. You time and time again prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person. You have no consideration or empathy toward your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear when in your presence. You will never understand the damage you have done to my family because you are incapable of doing so. You have made the lives of those closest to me a constant hell. You may tell yourself in the world whatever you want, but the truth will come to light someday. So happy Father's Day, you effing awful human being.
Shiloh, their daughter, was the first child of this family to take legal action regarding their name. A source told ET that Shiloh filed the papers asking to be known as Shiloh Jolie on their 18th birthday. Vivian Jolie, no more Pitt, ended up putting her name on a playbill for a Broadway musical she was working on as Vivian Jolie. She's the producer's assistant on this production, and she didn't want her father to be associated at all. Zahara, her older sister, introduced herself as Zahara Marley Jolie during a sorority ceremony. She got into a sorority house, and during her pledge, she decided not to include Pitt, which a lot of people noticed.
Brad Pitt's children, biological or adopted, have removed Pitt from their name. That tells me everything I need to know about Brad Pitt. As a hypnotherapist, I always look at patterns first. Let's hear what Kate James, Amber's former personal assistant, said about working for Amber.
Arranging travel, dealing with all of the surplus staff around the travel, booking all the greeters, dealing with the changing of travel. Okay, liaising with people that she's working with on films, updating her calendar accordingly, liaising with the people on set every single day to update her calendar to ensure that she knows what scene she's doing each day, what her call time is. Every day it's something different. But it's a lot. It's a myriad of things that go across the board daily.
You were paid for that work, correct?
Very poorly.
What were you paid? Was it $1,500 a week to start?
Kidding?
Is that what?
No, I wish. My God. No, it was not. She paid me $25 an hour to start off with, and she finally agreed after screaming abuse at me that she would pay me $50,000 a year once I went to full-time. And this was after me working for well over 10 years as a personal assistant. So it was very insulting to me, but I did it anyway because I had grandfathered in the ability to pick up my son from school and bring him to work with me at 3 o'clock.
Let's rewind and listen to this part again.
And she finally agreed after screaming abuse at me that she would pay me $50,000 a year once I went to full-time.
Amber Heard went absolutely ballistic and reacted with blind rage towards her personal assistant, Kate James, over her not putting magazines in the garage before she got home.
I would go approximately once a week to pick up whatever magazines Amber was featured in, 2 copies of each, which I would then store in her garage.
Why would you store them in Miss Heard's garage?
Because she didn't want Mr. Depp to see them.
Did she tell you why she didn't want Mr. Depp to see them?
No, she just got very angry with me one day because I hadn't quite made it downstairs to put them in the garage when she came home, and she went absolutely ballistic over that.
When you say she went absolutely ballistic over that, can you please describe what you mean?
Screaming, yelling, abuse.
Do you remember what she said to you?
No.
But it was abusive in your opinion?
Blind rage.
How did Amber react when she saw her personal assistant engaged in friendly chit-chat with Johnny?
Did you ever have interactions with Mr. Depp by yourself?
Sometimes, yeah.
And what were those interactions like?
Just friendly chit-chat, which would stop immediately when Amber saw me speaking to him. She'd give me the evil eye, and I'd know to just quickly walk away.
Kate James testifies to Amber Heard's pattern of verbal abuse.
Can you explain to me how she was verbally abusive to you?
Screaming over the phone. She screamed at me once in person, multiple times screaming at me over the phone. Barrages of abusive text messages, day and night, a lot of them in the middle of the night. I think you're aware. I think between 2 and 4 a.m. the barrage would start. That's what I'd wake up to. All incoherent, not really making sense, just basically someone to lash out at, no apparent reason to it.
Kate James testifies to Amber Heard's treatment towards her sister.
You testified previously that you observed Miss Heard be verbally abusive to her sister.
Yes.
What do you recall about that?
It was an ongoing kick the dog kind of relationship with her sister. So it's really hard to pinpoint any specifics, but her poor sister was treated like the dog that you kick, basically.
Kate James testifies that Amber Heard's own mother was terrified of her.
You previously testified that you observed Miss Heard be verbally abusive to her mother.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically did you observe?
Well, there is a video that's online where you can see her being abusive first and foremost. So it's not even based on what I'm telling you. It's what I've seen, the interactions between the two of them when her mother was still alive, and the fact that her mother was terrified of her.
Did her mother tell you she was terrified of her?
She personally told me she was terrified of her.
Did you ever witness Miss Heard tongue lash her mother?
Here and there, yes. Especially when it was build up to a stressful event or something like that, yeah.
What's that? Who? Oh.
Do you see how excited and proud her mom is? Do you know how many little girls and how many young women would be so excited and honored to have even half of the opportunities that Amber was given? And this is how she reacts to her mother, who's just so proud and excited to be there. She comes out so rude and hostile, saying never make eye contact and telling her mom she's embarrassing her. This is the person that people want to defend. Are you kidding me? And then there's this story. We all remember this, right? Where Amber was arrested for domestic violence on a former partner. Okay, let's get back to the case and hear what else her former assistant, had to say.
Can you provide me with any specific examples of this behavior?
Well, I thought I did earlier, but yeah, it was just so random and ongoing. You would never know when it was going to come left of centre. I do remember on one occasion when we were moving from part-time to full-time, and then the salary negotiations became a real bone of contention. And I specifically remember standing in her office where she leapt up out of her chair, put her face approximately 4 inches from my face. She was spitting in my face and telling me how dare I ask for the salary I was asking for, which was in fact approximately half of my regular annual salary. I was offering her that as a favor, and she felt that gave her the right to spit in my face.
It was her pattern to be abusive in relationships. It was not his pattern. They recorded their arguments, and as a domestic violence survivor, I've based my opinion on her based on not hearsay, but her own words, her own documented legal patterns. My ex-husband, for example, he didn't just start with me. The woman he was with before me, he beat her so bad. His mom tried to intervene and she got pushed down. And when the girl he was beating up screamed for my ex-mother-in-law to call the cops, my ex-mother-in-law refused to out of fear for what would happen to her son. But this woman, my ex-husband, and my ex-mother-in-law both acknowledged and admitted he beat her pretty badly. Beat her up with his fists. She wasn't the first one. There was another girl he dated that he punched. She wasn't the first one. When he was 14, he pushed a girl down a flight of stairs. But that's my point. It's a pattern.
If we could please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 397, which is already in evidence.
I wish I hadn't bought into any of your lies, your bullshit, your sober presence, your goodness, your sweetness, all the lies. I wish I hadn't bought into the months of you being you. I wish I hadn't bought into the promises. I wish I hadn't thought I could have kids with you. You're a kid yourself. I wish I hadn't bought into any of the lies you sold. Talk about fake bill of goods. Come on, go be a real married man and go deal with your way that a man does. Go run to the next house. Every man does.
Yeah.
Go. Run away. I know it's hard to look at yourself.
Ridiculous plan.
It's hard.
Panic plan.
It's hard. It's hard.
Screwing everybody else over to get your.
I tried.
That's
what I do.
You're the most spoiled brat. And you got everybody out here almost full, but it don't last long.
You're right.
I've been here a lot longer
You're
than
right. You got to figure it out.
You don't have figure out what you have to offer as opposed to going out and get your out.
You're right. That's what I do.
Well, yeah.
Hey, at least I didn't do like a TV show where I was heartbroken in my 20s. God, that would be like embarrassing.
Wow.
If only I was with someone in their 50s that could point that out to me. Imagine mine. You're right. When you play a non-sexualized object. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You're right. You got it all figured out.
You don't even know what movies I've done.
If only
You haven't even taken an interest.
If only I could be like
but I had to
you. If
watch
only
your
I could be like
I had to watch your direct and you trying to like
You're a joke.
spew out these lines.
You're a joke. You're a joke.
Yeah, I'm the joke in the industry, Amber. I'm the joke. I'm the joke in the
I'm
industry.
sorry, I can't really hear you. I'm sorry. The reruns of all my bullshit are playing too loud for me to hear you. I'm gonna just go and pedal my way back. Sorry, I can't hear you.
I was expressing frustration about his criticism of my career and how many problems that caused within the dynamic of our relationship, yes.
So you call him a sellout and a joke?
I called him horrible, ugly things, as you can hear. And
Sellout.
We spoke to each other in a really horrible way.
Pretty sure we just heard you speak to him in a really horrible way. You called him a sellout,
I just
right, Miss
disagree.
Heard? You called him a sellout, right, Miss Heard?
I called him a lot of ugly things.
And a joke.
I called him a lot of ugly things.
You called him a joke on that recording. You called him a washed up piece of shit.
I think we both called each other that on that occasion, yes.
Mr. Depp mentions Aquaman, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Mr. Depp got you that role in Aquaman, didn't he?
Excuse me?
Mr. Depp got you that role in Aquaman, didn't he?
No, Miss Vasquez, I got myself that role by auditioning. That's
Mr.
how that
Depp
works.
says, quote, your jealousy is so tragic.
I heard him say that, yes.
You were the jealous one in this relationship, weren't you, Miss Heard?
I think he was indicating I was jealous of his career.
But now you've twisted it to say it was Mr. Depp that's the jealous one.
Johnny's always been very jealous when I worked, when I did anything, friends. Yes, he's always been very jealous.
Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 304, which is already in evidence? That's you and Mr. Franco on May 22nd, 2016, right, Miss Heard?
That's correct.
And you're taking him up to the penthouses, aren't you?
That's where I lived, yes.
And it's past 11 p.m. at night, isn't that right?
I'm not quite sure of the time it looked like that.
Yeah. This wasn't the first time I heard of Amber referring to Johnny as washed up. While I was going to the James Franco Studio 4 school, I became friends with a woman who was one of his several assistants. She happened to be on set during the Adderall Diaries. She overheard Amber Turd telling James Franco that she was going to marry a washed up, used, old actor, referred to her at the time boyfriend or fiance as a washed up, used, old actor. That she was going to use him, destroy him, and walk away with his fortune. I was told this in 2015.
It's downstairs.
I don't
Did
care.
it seem real?
I don't care.
Did you hear what I said?
I don't care. I don't care.
You do.
There's plenty of things you've done. Plenty of things you've fucking done. That were absolute fucking lies.
I didn't
I'm not
ever-
even fuck with you about it. So anyway, don't leave it. So I'll see you in a bit. Yeah?
Is that what matters?
Your lies?
Is this what matters to you, your party?
Your lies, I
I never led you. And what we're talking about tonight is what? Who are you? Why? Why are you doing this?
I'm leaving. I'll be back.
Why? What is it that is so important always to run away to? Why?
It's a run away, yeah. I run because I'm a cop.
Why don't you stay? You asked me once not to leave, and I'm asking you. So why every 5 seconds do I get I'm leaving because there's a fucking movie party I gotta go to? I have never prioritized you behind that. And you, of all people, all this talk about not being that guy, you have done nothing but over the last 2 days but tell me that your movie parties were more important, including the night before last. When I said to you the same thing, stay. And today you apologized, said I love you, I'm so sorry. And then today it takes you 2 seconds. It takes you 20 seconds at most to go, fuck that, I hate you, I don't want to be with you, goodbye, I'm leaving, I'm running away. But I'm not running, I'm walking away.
Well, the one thing is for sure, I don't want to be with you. I don't. I really don't.
Then if you don't want want to be with me in life, then you need to actually do it. You need to actually take off your ring and forget that 5 hours ago you said the opposite. Otherwise, you can't keep throwing that around. You can't keep saying to me that this is something you care about. Is that what it's worth to you?
Yeah. For you, from all this bitch, from all these rules, all these...
Rules? Because I asked you to stay?
Because
I asked you to stay.
No, because you're fucking
What was it?
barking.
What was it when you asked me to
Because
stay?
you're a pain in the ass.
What was it when you asked me
I
to
can't
stay?
stand it no more.
What was it when you asked me to stay? In Australia, you said you promised me not to leave. You said you promised me not to leave. What did I do?
I thought you would change.
What did I do?
Not change.
What did I do?
Not change.
Did I stay or did I leave?
You changed.
Did I stay or did I leave?
You stayed and you didn't change and you were a fucking
I stayed.
pain in the ass and you were a cunt.
So I stayed. And I've been a cunt ever since, which is why you told me
Pretty
about every other day how you couldn't imagine your life without me, including today. So, which guy, does that seem normal to you? Does that seem normal to you? You told me tonight that you couldn't imagine your life without me, and now you're throwing your ring on the ground. Does that seem normal?
Let's have you tell me
That seems sober? You seem normal?
The definition of normal.
Does that seem normal?
You.
Does that seem normal to you?
Borderline personality disorder.
I'm borderline personality disorder now.
Without question.
When I've been consistent all night saying, don't go, don't fuck this all up. I'm not fighting with you anymore. I've been saying this to you the whole night. I'm really sorry we disagreed. You're not perfect. I said this 2 hours ago. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect.
I love you.
But we don't have to do this every time we disagree.
No. No, we don't. We
Please.
do. We do.
Please. Come here.
And you have
Please come
every
here.
insult.
Please come here. I'm not insulting you. I have not been insulting you. I love you. Johnny, what do you need me to do? I love you. Stop.
I'll smack me in the ear again. I'll smack my ear again. So it fucking resounds in my fucking cranium. You like that? Well, I don't love you that much. No, I don't. I do not love you that much. To give of myself? No. Do not. I will not give of myself. And you want me to fucking be some kind of perched goddamn parrot or a fucking weird frenzied dog? No, I won't be it. No?
Frenzied dog? I'm trying to talk to
or your goddamn fucking lover, Tasia Fantasia. I'm not gonna be that shit, man.
Stop.
No, I don't want to be with you. If these are the fucking rules, fuck that.
You're making this whole thing. You're doing this whole
Oh, look at that.
No one's fighting me.
I'm making this up. Really? That, above all else, is an insult.
Mr. Depp, what are you and Ms. Heard discussing in this recording?
It is another argument that is apparently not an argument to her. The screeching of her voice, the demand that things go her way and only her way. I was done, and I think I stated clearly, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be with you. I'm not going to be a parrot on a, or some, little dog that runs through hoops for you. I ain't going to do that. And I wanted out. She said, take your ring off. She still wouldn't let me leave. I did, and she still wouldn't let me leave.
Two things about this remind me of my marriage and the abusive personality type. So the first part is where he's where he's reacting to the fact that he doesn't want to be a little parrot or a frenzied dog or a little puppy that jumps through hoops for her. And I distinctly remember one night my husband saying to me, he couldn't have the woman he was obsessed with. So he wanted a woman who was obsessed with him, and he was upset that I was not obsessed with him. So he wanted to be with somebody who was obsessed with him, and just that thinking was not normal. And then also, when somebody tells you they no longer want to be with you and they take their ring off and you don't let them leave, legally that is called false imprisonment. And I was in that situation as well, where I was saying, I don't want this anymore, and I was not allowed to leave.
Where were you trying to go, if you can recall?
Anywhere. Away.
And why did you ask Miss Heard if she wanted to smack you in the ear again?
She had given me a good chop in the ear, you know. One of those where leaves you ringing, you know. And it was not long before that, and so I thought, maybe this will make you happy. Will it make you happy would you like to hit me in the ear again? Would that make you feel better? Will that make you stop this? Would have done anything to have stopped. Outside of taking anything to some physical level, I disagreed with that wholeheartedly. That's not me. It's not who I've ever been. It's not who I'll ever be.
So in this clip, he's talking about how she smacked him in the ear. He just wanted to go away. He thought that maybe she wanted to hit him again. This is, again, showing us who was the aggressive and who was the abusive person, and who was the one saying, I want to put a stop to this. I don't want to do this anymore. And what I'm hearing in these clips and in these audio sound bites is the reverse of my marriage. So whereas my husband took on the aggressive and the violent role, so did Amber. This is why I always say it's not about gender, it's about personality.
You know, and it builds, right? Like you build, I build, you know. It isn't like at one moment either of us sign a certificate of saying, or like sign the contract or say, okay, now a bloodbath. No. So acting as though there's a choice between the two is irrelevant. I'm not asking you to stay over having a bloodbath. I'm asking you, over walking away. I'm not asking you to have a bloodbath over walking away. I'm asking you to work it out over prolonging it and making it bigger.
Right, but if...
at least that's how I see it.
Indeed,
you know?
But if things get heated...
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going somewhere nasty, and the name calling begins, and all that stuff, I've got to get away. Because I don't want to be ever in a situation again like that. Never.
Me too. Me too.
Never. So...
Me too.
That's... Don't freak out if we do have a fight and I walk away.
I'm not going to do that. I'm asking you to stay when you feel you are also in the interest of working it out.
I think it's a good idea for us to take a moment or two, take some time. Take some time to think by ourselves without being, barraged by each other's fucking bullshit whatevers. Let's take a break from it, and then come back, try and be calm, and walk through the thing. But I'm not gonna stand and fight with you. I will not. You can call me a coward.
I don't
want that. You can call
me
anything you want. All those names, do it. But I will not do it again.
Please stop asking. Please, can you stop for the sake of this conversation?
No, I'm just saying I won't do it again. That's all. Okay, great. Then let's take our space, and let's not do this anymore, because I'm really getting frustrated. And I'm really, really, really sick of this argument.
Stop. I'm sorry.
Okay? So let me go, and you go, and I'll speak to you in a couple hours. Okay? Okay?
Stop. Okay.
Why are you saying stop?
Because
May I
so,
go?
Please, it causes me so much stress when you leave, when you walk away from me with that. It's like you don't understand how much worse you're making this.
I can't believe this.
Please, you're making it worse for me.
Okay, I'm sorry for you.
Please, I'm only trying to tell you so that you know you're causing me immense stress right now when you walk away like that. There's no reason to be mad.
Well, then say goodbye. I haven't walked away. You're not saying goodbye. You won't let me fucking leave. Let me leave.
Stop rushing me! Stop pushing me in the corner and then poking me with a stick and then saying, why are you saying the words you want me to say? Stop poking me! Stop rushing me! Stop throwing me against the wall! I'm going, what? You don't like that wall? You don't like the fucking wall? Stop pushing me!
Remember? I'm not pushing you. I'm not rushing you. I said, I need space. I don't want this conversation anymore right now. I need space. And I will take my space. Whether you like it or not, I will take it. And you will take your space. But if you keep halting
I'm not doing anything
this
to you.
and continuing
I'm
with
not
the rhetoric,
continuing it. I'm begging you to stop.
I don't. Okay, stop. I'm stopped. Stop. Now I have to go. Okay? So we will speak to each other in a couple of hours. Okay? I hope you have some kind of revelation that makes you feel better. You know? I hope I do too. But we'll just see when I get home. We'll just talk, or we won't talk, or we'll finish this, or we won't finish it. But this is not love. This is not happiness. This is not.
Please stop doing this. Please, you're causing so much fucking stress. I'm gonna die at this age. I'm gonna fucking die. You're causing me so much stress. Please stop. Please, I feel like I have a heart attack almost every day. Please stop. Please
what are you
stop
doing?
doing it. Please stop. He's so fucking mean.
Why
You're
are you
fucking
with me?
bully. Stop. Please stop. I've been begging you not to fight. I just said, can we please have a normal argument? Just even a normal conversation, fucking normal argument. And for the last hour, I've been begging you to please just leave it at that. Let's just go on with our night. I would have been able to come in with you. We would have been able to let it go in a few minutes. It would have been fine. It would just, if we allowed ourselves to have fucking normal arguments. Please, you're killing me with this. You're killing me. You're fucking killing me. Fuck.
Sean, could you, please, I want you to just go. I want you to take your medicine or whatever. I'm sorry that I've upset you.
Yeah, I think. Thank you, Sean. I'm ready to go. Thank you so much.
I'm really.
Mr. Depp, in the beginning, well, first of all, do you know where you are when you're having this discussion with Ms. Heard?
The only, excuse me, the only clue that I have is that Sean is being called. I'd called Sean and said to drive her home, or I believe it was probably at Sweetser, so then she could drive back, he would drive her back to downtown Penthouse 3.
This is two separate exhibit audio clips used in the trial, and in the first one you hear he's making a very reasonable request about taking space when arguments get heated, and she agrees that she'll do that and that she won't, freak out and go crazy. And then in the very next clip, she's doing exactly that when he is asking for space. It's a little triggering to listen to this because that is exactly what I would experience, except she's using gaslighting, emotional manipulation, and coercive control with her over-dramatic, "You're killing me, you're causing so much stress," when all he's doing is asking for space and saying, hey, I can't have this conversation right now, so you take space, I'll take space, and we'll come back and talk later. And that's how I am. I'm the kind of person that when I'm upset, angry, or just feeling really agitated, I don't want to infect anyone else. I don't want to say things I don't mean. I want to be left alone, because when I'm alone, I can regulate my nervous system, I can calm down, I can process, I can think, and I can think about what it is I want to say without reacting in heat of the moment. So I think that's what he's trying to do, and she's not letting that happen. And this is a scenario that I lived. Although mine was a little more intense, my ex-husband would get really aggressive and would keep me awake fighting for days. He would, take a little nap before he'd have to go to work, and I wasn't able to sleep. And then I also had the kids to take care of, and he'd go to work and act like everything was fine until he came home and just continued the fight. And this would happen for days. And I wonder if this relationship, the Depp-Heard relationship, had that same theme of fights carrying on for days.
It's been going on too long, Amber. And we just gotta stop this. Just gotta stop it.
I don't know how to get my reputation back.
We write a letter together.
That means
saying that we're going to take this out of the public eye, saying that we're going to try and work this out on our own, saying that the media has created such a fucking hateful storm that it's sickening, that we love each other, and that we want to make sure each other is okay. Have we had fights in the past? Have we had this or whatever? Fuck it, they already know all that shit. Don't matter. Here's the deal.
no, it matters. It makes. You have no idea. Every ounce of my credibility has been taken from. And done so in a dishonest way.
Amber, the abuse thing is we've got to deal with that. Yeah. We've got to deal with that,
Amber. I don't have
Amber.
any way of my credit is my credibility. I don't.
And why did you put that out there?
I did not. You forced me. Your team forced me to by going on the offense.
I didn't force you to.
From the very beginning. I promise. Look up the timelines to these things. Everything is. Forget it. Forget it. You don't believe what I say. You don't believe what I say. But I did not choose this. Every step of the way has been an offense.
I did not put this anywhere. I didn't. Let me talk to the fucking team.
I did not call the cops. I need them to state that.
Io called the
I did not
cops.
call the cops.
You told Io to call the cops.
I did not call the cops, and I did not give them any statement when they came. I've been trying to protect you.
You told Io to call the cops.
While it was happening?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, because the last time that it got crazy between us, I really did think I was going to lose my life, and I thought you would do it on accident. And I told you that. I said, oh my God, I thought the first time.
Amber, I lost a fucking finger, man. Come on. I had a fucking mineral can of mineral spirits thrown at my nose.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and
yes.
I know it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
It doesn't matter if it's a fair fight. My ass.
Exactly, because you're.
Before I go on to the lawyers questioning about this audio clip, I just want to chime in and mention that when it comes to fair fight in domestic violence, there's no such thing. It's not fair for your domestic partner to be attacking you verbally, emotionally, mentally, physically. That's not what a domestic partnership should look like. That's not what a healthy, loving, happy relationship looks like. And again, this is why I think we need to talk about male victims of domestic violence, because of what she says right here in this clip, also about how no one's going to believe him because he's a man. And there are so many people, men and women, who believe that men can't be victims, and that is one of many problems I see in our society. Men can also be victims, just like women can also be perpetrators of abuse.
Mr. Depp, when did you have the conversation reflected in this recording with Ms. Heard?
I don't recall exactly when it was.
What's your best estimate?
My best estimate is that it was quite a while before the meeting in San Francisco in July. Excuse me.
How far after May 21st, 2016 do you think that conversation was?
Objection, calls for speculation. Sorry, he said he doesn't remember when it was.
I'm asking for his best estimate.
I'll allow it if you can answer it this way.
Sorry, could you ask it again? I was distracted.
How long after May 21st, 2016 do you believe that conversation took place?
I would say that it was not too far, maybe a couple of months. It was far enough to where the world media was already bombarding me. So it was an attempt to try to make all the...
Objection, Your Honor, beyond the scope.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
What are you referring to when you said you and Ms. Heard will write a letter together?
I was trying to make a peaceful settlement.
And what are you referring to when you say you lost a finger?
A very large bottle of vodka severing my my middle finger in Australia.
And what were you referring to when you said a can of mineral spirits was thrown at your nose?
One of the arguments on the island where Miss Heard had been howling at me with some argument, and she picked up a can of mineral spirits about yay big and just heaved it at me, and it struck me on the bridge of the nose and right there, the forehead.
And what did you say in response when Miss Heard said, "Tell the world, Johnny, tell them Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence"?
I said, yes, I am.
Yes, men can also be victims and survivors of domestic violence. Just ask Travis Alexander, who was murdered, stabbed to death by his ex-girlfriend, Jodi Arias. That was also domestic violence. There was stalking, verbal assaults, and ultimately murder. Anybody who believes that men cannot be victims or survivors of domestic violence and that women are not perpetrators of and cannot be abusers and abusive people, anyone who believes that, you're part of the problem. Amber Heard lost all credibility as a so-called victim. She is a perpetrator of abuse. It is in her patterns. She is an abusive person. Amber Heard gives real victims and real survivors of domestic violence a bad name. Amber Heard is exactly the reason why people don't believe women. Amber Heard is part of the problem. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not sorry. I am pissed off. Amber Heard is a domestic violent abuser. She has a pattern and a history of abuse. Amber Heard is the problem, and all of her supporters are part of the problem too. You guys are the reason why people don't believe real victims and real survivors of domestic violence. Congratulations, Amber Heard is part of the problem.
I'm telling you, if you lost memory last night of kicking me out the door with the fucker hitting me,
Again,
and
sorry.
and your memory is gone from you kicking the bathroom door and hitting me in the skull as I was bent
Again,
down.
I am
Wait,
sorry.
if you have those memory fucking divots.
I was upset. There was a lot going on,
okay,
and I was
but
on an Ambien. Like,
Okay,
why?
but wait.
Like, why are you obsessing over the fact that I can't remember it the way you remembered it? I said I was sorry. I didn't deny
know
it.
that. I'm not talking about that. What I want.
Abusers love excuses. And here in this clip, we get to hear her making an excuse for kicking the door and effectively kicking him in the skull. She doesn't deny it. She makes a half-assed apology with an excuse of bad mood, a lot going on, and being on Ambien. Well, I'm sorry, but you're still an abusive person. You still did the abusive thing. I know many people who have taken Ambien and have not kicked anyone in the skull. She kicked him in the skull and then made an excuse for it. Typical abuser, excusing their actions rather than taking accountability.
It's not to get you mad. It's not to get. It's just to get out of a bad situation while it's happening before it gets worse. In Australia, when we had the big fight where I lost the tip of my finger, at least 5 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms I went to
avoid talking to me. To
to
avoid
escape
working it out. That's
to
the
escape
problem.
the fight.
You don't escape the fight. You escape the solution.
No.
You escape the solution.
No.
You escape figuring it out. We cannot work it out if you run away to the bathroom every time.
Listen to me. Listen to me. A boxer can't go 12 rounds without a fucking minute break.
I'm not giving you a minute break. You do it at minute 3 at the beginning of an argument.
No. There are rounds, man, and when it gets too fucking hairy, the ref splits them apart or whatever. But all I'm saying is, you can't have a solution if the argument just keeps mounting and mounting and mounting and mounting. I fucking go into the bathroom and sit on the floor. Bam, 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 here you come. I come out. Fight, crazy, escalated. I split again, I go to another fucking bathroom or a bedroom or something. Knock, 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 bang, bang, bang. You kept coming to get me.
There are people who, when they are angry and upset, they need to scream and fight and get it all out right then and there. And then there's other people who, when we're angry, and I'm like this, and it sounds like Johnny's like this, we need to take space and calm down and regulate our nervous system, get ourselves in check, get our thoughts in order so that when we do revisit the topic, we can revisit the topic with an actual solution. So when I'm really angry, I want to be left alone. That's who I am. That's how I've always been. If we're in a big fight, I want to retreat. I want to run away. Fight or flight, I want to flight. And some of us are like that. And then it sounds like Amber is like my husband was, in that they are the type of personalities who are aggressive, they're angry, they're hostile, and they want to fight it right now, and they are going to not let you get space. And if you run into the bathroom, they're going to do everything but break down the bathroom door, or they might even break down the bathroom door if they have the ability to do so. And that makes for a very nasty situation when you have a domestic relationship, because you have 2 people who are angry and have 2 different conflict styles. So I'm the kind of person that is going to run away and lock myself in the bathroom or go for a drive. And if you back me in a corner and force me to fight, I'm going to say a bunch of things I don't mean. And I'm going to say the meanest things I can think of because what I want is to be left alone. And I'm going to say and do whatever I think I can to get you to leave me alone. But I don't get physical. I'm a small person. I, for most of my life, have barely weighed 100 pounds. I'm not a fighter. So when it comes to fight or flight, I flight. It sounds like Johnny wanted to flight. She would not let that happen. Over and over and over again, we hear evidence of this. Over and over and over again, we have evidence of her being the aggressor and him wanting to run away from the fight, and then her mocking that and saying that that's the bad thing to do. No, no, no. That's what some of us need to do. Some of us are wired that way, where that's how we can decompress and think and then resume the conversation with a calm, logical, rational mindset. And that is what is conducive to coming up with a solution.
I'm not the one who fucking throws fucking pots and
those are different. That's different.
Else at me.
That's different. That's one does not negate the other. That's irrelevant. It's a complete non sequitur. Just because I've thrown pots and pans does not mean that you come and knock on the door. Just because there are vases does not mean that you come and knock on the door.
Really, I should just let you throw.
I'm not saying that. You're saying that. You're putting words in my mouth and then making non sequiturs.
I'm giving you a situation.
No, you're trying to justify how you don't or do come to the door based on whether I throw pots and pans. It's irrelevant.
No, I'm justifying how you seem to think that there's this cowardice in me that runs away and I don't fight for you.
And you're justifying that by saying I throw pots and pans? Okay, cool. Let's talk about everything you do wrong.
I'm not the one who...
Throwing pots and pans is also a form of abuse.
I said to Travis, I said to you, hey, tell Travis what just happened.
You told me to do it. You told me to. You said, go do that.
I said, no, tell him what just happened.
And I lied.
And that you punched me in the fucking thing. And
you figured it out.
And you said, no, I didn't. What the fuck are you talking about? And I watched you lie. And then
I didn't punch you, by the way. I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
You know, you've been in a lot of fights. You've been around a long time. I know. Yeah.
No, when you fucking have a close
You didn't get punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not fucking deck you. I fucking was hitting you. I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
How are you tough?
What am I supposed to do? Do this? I'm not sitting here bitching about it, am I? You are. That's the difference between me and you. You're a fucking baby.
Because you start...
You are such a baby! Grow the fuck up,
because
Johnny!
You start physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did, so I had to get the fuck out of there.
Yes, you did. So you did the right thing, the big thing. You know what? You are admirable.
Domestic violence survivor aside, just as a mom, just as a human being, I have always told my children, the minute you put your hands on someone else, you're in the wrong. Violence does not solve our problems. I have always said this to my children, just as a mom. Take everything else out of it, just as a human being trying to raise other decent human beings. One of the golden rules is we don't put our hands on other people. So I don't know if this is a failure on Amber's parents' part, or if Amber herself thought she was an exception to the rule, or that the rules don't apply to her. But here she is, ladies and gentlemen, admitting that she is the one, admitting that she, just for all those female filmmakers who got mad at me when I said that she was not the victim here she is admitting that she started the physical fight and then mocks the other person for being in pain and for complaining about being abused. She's mocking them and calling them a baby. Where I come from, we call that a bully. Amber Heard is an aggressive bully who admits to being abusive, but then turns around and wants to cry victim.
What else do you want to fucking say to me, you piece of shit? What else? You don't have anything else to say to me? Cool.
I wish you the best.
Hey, why don't you fuck yourself? Go suck your own dick. You're used to it. Oh, listen. I'll write you a check for the extra sip I took. Is that okay? Stingy old fucking piece of shit.
You're the one that brought it up.
Mm-mm. You did. You said don't drink my wine. That's mine.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you didn't?
I said I didn't think you were looking for any more.
Rewind. Rewind.
Probably defended me pretty good in front of your Rocky and your pop and your mom. I've tried so fucking hard with you. I've tried so hard.
Hey, if you ever learn this shit, 50 fucking something years, you're never gonna learn it. I hope to God, Jack's stepfather teaches him more about being a man than your fucking left nut.
Hey, that's good. You gave me some shit about my kids, just like in London that you designed. Never again. Stay away. You don't exist. You will not be getting my words.
Mr. Depp, could you please describe to the jury what they just heard in that audio recording?
I don't know when. I don't know when that. If there's a date on that, but clearly there was some animosity and another clash, and misheard once again. Felt it necessary to bring my kids, my son into that argument and say that she hopes that my son's stepfather can teach him how to be a man, since I couldn't. And I believe she says something about more man in the stepfather than would be existing in my, I believe the term was left nut.
Using someone's kids as a weapon is a very, very low blow, and again, showing the character of the person.
The knife is really dull, and it would be the worst thing in the world to use to cut me with. It would be too painful and dull and dirty to use.
Yeah, that's the tip of the knife.
right? It's pretty. No, please do not. Don't. You're gonna hurt yourself. Don't. See? It's okay. Please don't cut yourself. Please don't. Please stop. Please stop. Please. Don't hurt yourself, please.
No, I won't hurt myself at all.
Go put your fucking cigarettes out on someone else. You fucking have consequences for your actions. That's it.
Shut up, fat ass.
Yeah, you got me there. I fucked up and cried in my bedroom after I had dumped you a fucking week prior. A fucking week prior after you beat the shit out of me. And then a week later you show up at my doorstep in my room saying you want to say goodbye. Okay, say goodbye.
Oh, I said it?
Yes, you did say it. I'll go to the text messages so that we're clear on the
Yes,
tape.
because you said it before to me.
Okay. No doubt. But you did not say you're gonna come over to say bye?
I made a huge mistake.
You didn't say that to me?
Huge mistake.
You didn't say that to me?
Well, I won't do it again.
What's the mistake then? Did you or did you not say you were coming over to say bye? It's early, it's quick, it's so not, you're not interested in not fighting. You are guaranteeing a fight. When you do that, and I've told you this so many times, you guarantee it. If you were interested in not fighting, you would be respectful if you needed the space you would be careful not to perpetuate the fight longer by saying, I need a few minutes, and then actually honoring that. How can I trust you that it will be a few minutes when you've done this in the past and disappeared for hours? You know, I got mad at you in Australia about this. I said, baby, I want to trust you. It's hard for me not to try and work it out. If you want to be the person that's like, I need to cool down, help me do that, give that to you. But I can't give it to you if you always let me down and fuck up and forget.
Because I gave you a time limit, because I said I'll be back in 3 minutes. So I'm just...
No, it's different.
If it happens...
It's different. You never...
If it happens, I'm just going to say, look, I need some time. That's it.
I'm telling you, that will make it worse.
No.
I guarantee you it will.
If you're stuck in throwing punches...
I'm not talking about throwing punches. I'm talking about an argument.
Right. In arguments, you tend to throw punches.
I'm talking about arguments. I'm not talking about the times when it's got physical. I'm talking about arguments. I'm talking about arguments. I'm talking about arguments.
Yes, in our arguments.
Earlier and earlier and earlier. Now you split. You take off right away. You don't deal with the issue. You don't deal with the confrontation, and you split. Whether it is, and then you do it for an undeterminate amount of time. You do it without actually respecting. When you do give me a time, like say I need a few minutes, you never.
There are a lot of really concerning statements in this series of audio clips on both parts. I want to be very clear that just because I don't believe Amber is a victim or survivor of domestic violence does not mean that I think Johnny is completely innocent in all of this. I think that he is a drug addict and she's an abuser, and they both brought out the worst in each other. Unfortunately for Amber, it does show a pattern in her history and in her relationships, not just with Johnny, but also with her mother, her sister, her assistant, whereas Johnny doesn't have the same pattern. So that's the difference in why I believe she's an abuser. But I do think that this relationship was toxic and unhealthy all across the board. These are two people who might have had a passionate sexual attraction to each other in the beginning, but this is not a relationship that should have ever happened. This is something that I think brought pain to both parties and other people in their orbit. I don't think anything healthy came out of this relationship for them or for his children or for any of her extended family or friends either. It sounds like this relationship was just toxic overall. So before anyone wants to accuse me of taking sides here, I'm not. I'm just pointing out as a domestic violence survivor what I hear as abusive behavior. So if anything that I'm saying upsets you and you don't like what I'm saying because you think that I'm coming to the defense of a man you don't like or a man that you believe is abusive, I'm not. And I want you to stop and pause for a second and understand I'm listening to this strictly as a domestic violence survivor and the mother of a son who is currently in an abusive relationship through methods of coercive control. That is the stance that I'm coming from. I'm not defending Johnny, but if you hear that and you get angered or triggered by what I'm saying, you need to step back and understand what's actually triggering you is hearing a real domestic violence survivor point out abusive behaviors. And if that's triggering to you, then I'm going to ask you to step back and pause and think and ask yourself, why is it triggering to you to hear a domestic violence survivor pointing out clear patterns and signs of abuse? Why would it trigger you to hear a survivor pointing out patterns that they lived through and narrowly survived? Why does it trigger you to hear a real domestic violence survivor calling out an actual woman who lied about being a victim? Why does this trigger you? So I'm asking you to step back and evaluate your own triggers and feelings regarding hearing people talk about domestic violence in an honest and raw way. I have a lot that I want to talk about with regards to femicide, domestic violence, and what it's like to be a woman in those relationships, and signs for other women to be aware of and look out for, and what you need to know and be aware of to fucking run. But this video, I want to talk about male victims of domestic violence, because there are women and men who believe men can't be victims of domestic violence. And I'm sitting back on the sidelines and having to watch one of my own sons go through a domestic violence situation where I can't do a goddamn fucking thing about it. So I'm going to talk about it because that's what I can do. Because talking about it creates relatability with others who are going through similar things. Relatability creates connection, and connection saves lives. Talking about domestic violence is something we as a society need to do. But since society is unwilling and I am willing, if you go to the Mind Magic Hypnosis website, I'm going to be adding support groups. And one of these weekly support groups is going to be for domestic violence survivors, male and female survivors and victims are welcome. Though I don't like the word victim because in my mind, victim means dead. If you're not dead, you're a survivor. As hard as it is, you're a survivor. You are surviving, even if just barely. You didn't die, even if you wish you did. I know firsthand that PTSD from domestic violence makes you feel like you wish you had died. The fact that you didn't makes you a survivor, not a victim. So I will be starting support groups for that. I know it's extra hard for men to talk about. And I don't support misogyny. So misogyny will not be welcome. But I do understand that men who have been abused by women might be untrusting of women. They might fear women. They might not like women, just like women who've been abused by men might fear men. They might not like men, and they definitely don't trust men. So we need to talk about it, because monsters don't just come in one gender or one shape or one size or one color or one religion. The scariest thing about real monsters is they look like everybody else. And oftentimes they present as the most harmless when you first meet them. They want you to believe they're harmless. They need you to believe they're harmless. But the scariest thing about monsters is they look just like you and me. They blend in with everyday people. They're going to church. They're going to synagogues. They're going to temples. They're showing up at your yoga retreats. They're looking for vulnerable people. They're master manipulators. They know exactly what to look for. I have always said, and I will always say, it is not a gender thing. It is a human thing. Abusers, narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, they come in all genders, all shapes, all sizes, all colors, all genders. So anyone who wants to say all men or all women, no, you're wrong. It's not a gender thing. It is a personality pattern thing. Look for the patterns in someone's personality. Look for their patterns in relationships. So to the female filmmakers who decided to villainize me, unfriend me, and block me, because no, I don't believe all women, and I don't support Amber Turd, which, no, does not mean that I support Johnny Depp, because I think this case made them both look bad. I think it made them both look like assholes. But for the female filmmakers that wanted to turn against me because I don't believe all women, I believe all women should be heard. I believe when evidence supports what a woman is saying, it should be investigated. I believe women are amazing, wonderful, talented, beautiful, special creatures. I love and adore and respect my fellow woman. And I will always champion for other women to succeed, always. And I will always champion for other women who are in domestic violence situations to get to safety. And I will always provide resources when I can if a woman reaches out to me. And I will always, always, always support single moms and the goals and dreams of women, because I want to see other women succeed. And I know you can. I know you're capable. I know you're smart and talented and wonderful and amazing. I also know some women are mentally unwell. Some women are mean girls. Some women have no loyalty to anyone but themselves and will backstab every other woman. I know this. I'm not delusional about it. But I don't think that all women are crazy. I'm not going to sit there and say all bitches are crazy or whatever the saying is. No, because I think women are amazing. I'm not a misogynist, and I don't battle internalized misogyny. I champion for other women. I also am aware that, yes, men are people too. As a mom of boys, I'm seeing what one of my sons is going through, and it's not okay. And when men are abused by women, it's not okay. Just because men have abused women does not mean it's okay for women to turn around and abuse men. That's not equality. That's not how we achieve a balanced society. I will champion for all survivors of domestic violence, regardless of gender, regardless of skin color, regardless of age or size or shape, because I know what it's like to be in that situation. I know how scary it is to feel like you can't leave, or to think you can, and oops, you get attacked because you say you want out. A lot of times the big question is, well, why didn't you just leave? And anybody who ever says, why didn't you just leave? Or why can't they just leave? Or they should just leave. As soon as you say those words, you're telling me you don't actually understand what it's like to be in that kind of relationship, because if you did, you wouldn't even ask that question. You would know. It is not always possible for somebody to leave. And furthermore, it is not always possible for someone to leave safely and or alive. I almost didn't make it out alive because I said the words, I want a divorce. That's it. I want a divorce. Those 4 words were the most deadly words I ever spoke. I want a divorce. 4 most deadly words I ever uttered. Be careful. Take care of yourself. And if you have a relationship that resembles Johnny and Amber's, or anything that I've mentioned in the last couple videos about my previous relationship, you need a safety plan. You can email me and I will give you whatever resources I have, and I will help you find local resources. But you need a safety plan, because
you in danger, girl.
And on that note, I will see you soon. If you enjoy this content, please feel free to like and subscribe. And if you feel like you know anybody who would benefit from anything I've said here, please share it with them.